Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Run Lift Race Show. I am your host, Coach Mindy, and today we're going to talk about the number one cause for over 75% of running injuries and how you can avoid it. Let's go. Runners, so today we are talking about the P word, which stands for posture. Yes, posture and bad positioning when we run is the number one cause of over 75% of running injuries. Now, when you hear the word posture, it may conjure up old memories of like a parent or a grandparent yelling at you not to slouch, not to slump. And guess what? That was great advice, because when we slump and when we slouch, when we use bad posture, we are actually forcing other muscles to work a lot harder and causing a lot of excess strain and overuse on those muscles, which can lead to injury. So today's episode is part one of a part two series. I'm going to specifically talk today about the lower body, and then next week we'll talk about the upper body as it relates to posture. All right, so when we are talking about the lower body, we are mostly focused on the pelvis. And the pelvis can be in three different positions. So it can be tilted forward, it can be in neutral position, which is ideally what we want to see, or it can be tilted back. Now, if you're like most runners and you're sitting all day long, chances are your pelvis is actually going to be tilted forward. And what this does is when you're sitting for long periods of time, it can put a lot of excess work and stress on other muscles in your body, in this case the hip flexors and the low back. And you will probably feel this when you are running, either with your tight hips, or you may feel some pressure and some aching in your low back. That is all those can all be symptoms of having an anterior pelvic tilt. Now, most people think that the way to kind of get rid of the pain and the tightness is just by stretching. And unfortunately, we are dealing with more than just tightness in those muscles. We're actually dealing with muscle imbalances. And what happens is when you carry those muscle imbalances over to your run and you're running out of alignment over and over and over again, those are the things that are going to lead to injury. And so what we need to do is actually address those muscle imbalances by correcting where your pelvic alignment is and getting that pelvis back into neutral. So today what I'm going to do is give you 3 tips on how to get that pelvis back into a neutral position when you run, so that you can start to run more efficiently, run without pain, and overall just getting much better in your run positioning and also your run form. All right, you guys, so step number 1 is what we're going to do is start to pull our pelvis back into neutral position by pulling your hip bones up towards your belly button. Now, what I like to do, because I'm a visual person, is I like to think about an accordion being attached from the bottom of my rib cage to my belly button. And what I'm trying to do is close that accordion or squeeze that accordion by pulling my hip bones up so that I feel that nice tightness in my abs, okay? The second step that we're gonna do is something called bracing for a punch. So what I want you to do is pretend that someone's about to sock you in the stomach. You're gonna tighten those abs and get ready for, like as if someone was gonna punch you in the stomach. The third step that I want you to do is, after you get your hip bones pulled up, you've got those tightness in your abs, before you just take off and start running, I want you to think about leaning from your ankles as you run. And what that's going to do is allow you to keep that neutral position, but also allow you to leverage gravity to help you run, so that you're not overstriding with your heels or reaching for your heels. You're actually letting gravity help you do the work when you run. So those 3 tips I want you to work on this week. Pulling those hip bones up, so squeezing that accordion, bracing for a punch, and leaning from your ankles as you get into your run. And what you're gonna find is, although it feels awkward at first, you're really gonna start to feel a difference in terms of the types of muscles you're able to activate, like your core muscles as you're running, and hopefully be able to feel those muscles working rather than things like your hip flexors and your back. All right, so next week is part 2. I'm gonna go over the upper body and some tips to help you improve your running form, specifically with your arm swing. So definitely tune in to that next week and get the second half of the tips as we work on improving our posture. Also, I would love to hear from you. So if you've got some burning questions, either about your posture, your run form, or anything running related, I would love to hear from you. Post a comment below and I will definitely connect with you. So until then, I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks so much for watching.